Hey everyone, Coach Toolshed, and today I want to talk about a game that I'm actually excited about, Metro Exodus, which is going to be coming out, unless it gets delayed, it's supposed to be coming out in February of 2019. And you might say, Coach, that's an awful long ways away. Well, it just seems that way. It's really only 7 months away. It's not that far. We are in the second half of the year, guys. So, February is not too far away, so I want to talk about this game. We just got a better look at it a few weeks ago at E3, and there's been some gameplay trailers gone out, and we've gotten some new info on the game. We don't have a lot of info, but a lot of people kind of have skipped the Metro series, and I want to talk about maybe some of you could give this series a chance. There's 2 more games in the series before Metro Exodus. That would be Metro 2033, which came out, I believe, in 2010, and Metro Last Light, which came out a few years later in 2013. And these are games that I actually see them compared to Fallout quite often. I don't really think that is an apt comparison in a lot of ways, but it does share a post-apocalyptic setting. There's a lot of different creatures that you're going to come in contact with, and but really, aside from that, this really couldn't be much different than a Fallout experience. But I do see them compared quite a bit, and I'm sure there is some crossover fans because the setting, post-apocalyptic, underground tunnels, is actually very similar to a lot of Fallout 3, I guess, because you spend a lot of time in subway tunnels in that game. And so in the Metro series, basically there's been, another big war, and the world's been destroyed. And this game is set in Russia as opposed to the US where Fallout is set. And so you are in the Moscow area, in the Metro tunnels under the city, and that is where most of humanity is surviving, is underground, and the surface has given way to creatures, and the creatures are coming under the ground. They try to kill anyone that they see. And there's also constant battling going on between human factions inside the Metro tunnels, which adds to further the story and develops, that you're going to be fighting human enemies and creatures as you go through the game. Now, the thing to remember about the Metro series is these are linear games. They're story-based games. They're heavily narrative focused, and you're basically going to be, since you're on trains a lot of time, you're literally on rails, literally and figuratively, as you go through this game. And so if you really like the exploration of an open world, this game is not really going to provide that. And even though a common misconception about Metro Exodus is that it's going to be open world, the developers actually cleared that up early this week. It's not open world. It's still going to follow the linear path, but the areas and zones are supposed to be much larger, and there's going to be a lot more emphasis on exploration to find, different materials, crafting materials. If you've never played this game before, one of the key components is you always have to have air filters because you can't survive on the surface without having a gas mask on. So you have to have a mask on at all times, and one of the key components to the stress element of the game is you have to move quickly while still being cautious, because the enemies can gang up on you quickly if you're not careful, but you have a limited amount of time because you always have to worry about how much air you have left available in your filter. So you're constantly looking for air, and I know that might sound like a drag, but actually it's paced very well throughout the first 2 games. So I hope that in the 3rd game with the bigger areas, I hope they still have a good balance between exploration, how far you can go, and how far you're willing to push yourself. Because this is not a game, you can pause it, but it's not really a game where you're in menus a lot. One of the cool features I saw in the gameplay video is that you can actually just customize weapons just right there on the spot. You don't have to be running back and forth to a gunsmith to do upgrades all the time. You'll be able to just do everything right there on the spot. And it's always been a game where you just grab what you need, take this gun, take these bullets, whatever bullets you can find, and grab as many air filters as you can, and let's just go. So I do like the fact that they're going to be opening up the zones to make them bigger, because the overworld zones have always been really good at setting a real tense atmosphere because it's quiet, but you can hear creatures howling off in the distance. You see them flying around, and everything is very unsettling. And it really is a great game for atmosphere. If anyone does compare it to Fallout, I think that would be where the comparison lies the heaviest, is the atmosphere of the game. Sure, everything's ruined and you're in a major city, and so it has those elements, but really it's that depressed atmosphere that the game has, and that's really what sells the game, honestly. And you might be like, oh, that sounds terrible, Coach, but I'm telling you, it really sets a great atmosphere. It's a great setting for a game, and I'm just excited to see what they are going to do in the third game, because this is a series that I like, as I said. So one of the things that I am a little bit leery of, and I'm wondering how they're going to pull this off, is they've said that the script for the game is going to be twice as long as the first 2 games plus the DLC combined. So, I mean, if you want to double the length of playing the first 2 games and all the DLC, I mean, probably looking at about a 40-hour game, I guess. The first 2 games don't take that long to play. Probably about a dozen hours, a little bit longer for the second one if you really want to go through and explore and, you know, take your time and be stealthy. So you double that, I mean, it might be 40, 50 hours. So I wonder if they can really pull off stretching a story out that long, because the story in the game is interesting and it's enough to pull you along, but it's not the greatest story you're ever going to play. Metro Exodus is going to be bringing back the same continuation of the story. You're going to be playing as Artyom, who is the main character in the first 2 games, and it also has characters coming back from previous games. And so, like I said, it's just going to be continuing the story from the first 2 games. Now, you might say, Coach, should I go back and play the previous games? Well, I would say probably, yeah, actually, because you can usually get these games on a really deep discount in a lot of different areas. They redid them a few years back into a package called Metro Redux, and you can usually get that very cheap. There's lots of sales. I know you can get it on PlayStation or Xbox at any given time for a minimal price, and you can get deep sales in this game. I know when I bought it, it was a few years ago even, and I think I got both games for $10 total. So, I mean, you really can't go wrong. They don't take a whole hell of a lot of time to play. You know, a couple dozen hours and you could be through both games, and even maybe go through the DLC. I know I've played through both of the games a couple times a piece, and I enjoyed it. It's very suspenseful. Like I said, the atmosphere is great. The fights are tense. The art design is fantastic. I really like pretty much. There's really not too much bad to say about the game, other than, you know, sometimes the dialogue is a little bit corny. But other than that, I really like the games. It feels like you're there. It puts you in the setting very well. You get immersed in the story very well. Even though it's, like I said, it's not the greatest story I've ever played, but it immerses you very well inside the world. And I would recommend it if you have the time to play. And I would, even if you don't want to go back and play the first 2 games, I would say look at Metro Exodus. Like I said, it comes out in 7 months. The gameplay that I've seen looks fantastic, and something I'm looking forward to. Guess what, guys? I just did an entire video and I wasn't negative. So there you go. It can be done. So that's all I got to say for this one. I'm Coach Toolshed. Let's talk about it down in the comments below. Do you think I'm dead wrong? Is this a game that no one should be excited about? Is this a game that you're looking forward to? Do you think it compares to Fallout in any way? I don't know. I know a lot of people have come to the channel based on Fallout, so that's why I compared it to Fallout. Let's discuss it down below. And as always, keep it turned to 11. Just a quick side note, thank you to everyone who subscribed over the last couple weeks. The vast majority of my audience has just recently subscribed since the middle of June, so if you've just come on board, thank you very much, and you're not alone. Most of the people are brand new additions. I didn't necessarily plan for this channel to be so focused on Fallout content per se. It just has happened that way, and this is something that has gotten me really riled up over the last couple weeks, so that's what I've been focusing on. But I'd like to branch out and do some other stuff, so I don't want to just stay focused on Fallout, but I will be still following it. It seemed in the comment sections from my last video, a lot of you have already decided that you're not going to get it anyway, so I think it's probably best if I don't focus on it exclusively. And like I said, I never really intended this to be a Fallout news channel. I don't want to get bogged down by being attached to one brand, because I don't like where that goes. I don't like I don't want to become reliant on a particular franchise or developer, because I think that is a road that leads to bias, and I don't want to be biased, or at least as unbiased as possible. So let me know what you guys think down below. It seems like you guys kind of wanted me to not focus so much on the Fallout stuff, even though I know a lot of you have come here because of the Fallout stuff. So let me know if there's anything else you guys would be interested in me talking about down below. I'll be glad to talk about it, and I'll talk to you later.